All right, streamers, welcome to the show. Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com. It's basically going to be the Scott, Randy, and Chip show of the day. And we are about 6 minutes away from going live on satellite radio. So exciting stuff. We got some great topics for you. And it's kind of special that we have Randy Sutton today because, you know, he's been all over the news cycle. And oh, look at that. That's the little bunny rabbit that I met a couple of weeks ago. and there's two of them, Scott. I know Scott's already going to get the bow and arrow. Yeah, no, he probably used a little buck knife for that. So, but it's all good. Yeah, I showed Scott one of my knives when he came down and we went to the Columbia, and I had to watch him. I didn't think I was going to get that thing back. You know,
hey, that thing's nice. Well, I told him. So I had now, if I remember correctly, that was what's
Microtech.
A Microtech. So I had a
underwater demolition serial number, but a special underwater demolition version. Yeah.
So I had a Microtech, and it was my favorite knife. And for some reason, that, you know, how it has the clip for the pocket, you know, you can clip it. Well, what was holding it on was that glass breaker, right? And the glass breaker, it just kept loosening up, and it loosened up one day, and it fell out of my pocket. It was like a $450 knife, but it was something that it was given to me. I mean, it was assigned to me. I mean, or whatever. I can't even think right now. I just woke up.
Microtech, they got the best quality product out there, you know, and probably the greatest reputation, you know, when it comes to knives. So yeah. It was a great knife. It was a great knife. One of my favorites. Small, slim. It's just one of those things where I kept doing this just because it was like, how does this work? It's really cool. I like it.
But did you ever kill anybody with it?
No, I have never have. And you know, was a thing. It's like, man, I wonder, because I always carried a knife. I wonder if there's ever going to be a chance. I said it'd be pretty cool. I think everybody wants that, you know, like, but it's like it just never.
There was just a couple of months ago, the son of a friend of mine who's a cop got his gun. They were in a fight over his gun in the detention room. And the guy got the officer's gun. And he had his emergency knife, and he fucking took care of business.
They had that. I mean, we covered a story. It was on video. Mm-hmm. It was at CBT, Central Breath Test. The guy was doing a suspected DUI, and he was being uncooperative. And so I reached out to the guy. The guy's father is a retired cop, and I reached out to the father trying to get a hold of the son to find out the knife that he used. I doubt it was at CBT. I suspect he had a knife on him, and I was trying to find out what the knife was, like what brand, and I was going to offer to get a new knife for him, but I never, you know, because they probably took it as evidence and stuff, but I never heard back. But you can maybe hook me up with the guy.
I worked with him. He reached out to me after it happened.
Dude, that would be. I mean, you know, if he's interested. But I mean, I'm curious. You know, we really preach, you know, carrying these backup weapons and knives and stuff, and I'm a huge proponent of that. And this is a perfect example, because when the body camera came back on, there were no less than 24 cut, you know, puncture wounds and slashes on the back of this dude that was face down. His shirt was ripped open, and there was a heck of a freaking knife fight off camera. And then you just pretty much watch the guy, you know, bleed out on camera, you know, after the body cam came back on or reattached or whatever. But yeah,
well, it's just, I mean, I do believe in having a backup knife, but just as another plug, which is true, if he would have had some gloves on, if he would have had gloves on, it probably would have been fine. Hey, so I was going to show you a knife too after you show yours.
Well, this is my go-to for opening up packages and stuff. And so I got a package from MVS that I'm going to open up live on the show. And MVS is one of our biggest.
That is so exciting.
So. Yeah. Look at that.
Oh boy, wait.
Look at this, man. Look, so I can already see it. The knife is going down so I don't cut myself.
You know, it'd be funny if he pulled out one of those big old. Oh, I'm just kidding. Oh, right on, man.
Black rifle. That's right, baby.
I like where your brain goes, Scott.
Yeah. That would have been classic.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So I got the black rifle right here. Thank you, MVS. And it's cold.
It'll
I can
probably
open this up
last
and drink it right away.
So what? That'll last like what? A day? 2 days?
I don't drink more than one a day. So this is my favorite. It is the Freedom Punch Black Rifle.
Right
and yeah, 16 ounces of pure energy, guys. Don't try this at home.
The most unhealthy thing you could put in your body.
Yes.
No, not real. I mean, look, if you're going to drink an energy drink, Black Rifle, AI Energy, and Bang Energy. Those are the healthiest ones. Monster, Red Bull. There are other energy drinks out there, but these are the healthiest. And I've looked at the ingredients, and that's the honest truth. So,
hey, check it out. So this is a knife that a couple years ago someone showed it to me.
30 seconds.
And okay, I'll just wait.
Oh, you want to wait? Okay, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Anyhow, it's really cool. Like you wear it like a appendix carry, and if I go down, I can grab it, and the only skill you need is just punching, right? So it's kind of shaped. It's kind of shaped like this, and you wear it like concealed carry. Come down, it's really fast, and you just punch. And so that's why I liked it, because
3 seconds. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hello, buddy. Come on.
All right, guys, welcome to Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com. My name is Chip the Block, and I'm your host, and we're a group of law enforcement professionals that talk about today's news and issues, but we do it from a law enforcement perspective. Let me introduce the crew. And guys, if you don't mind waiting for the video portion of our show, we got Lieutenant Randy Sutton, the founder of the Wound to Blue, thewoundtoblue.org, also retired Las Vegas Metro Police Department, and let me just say, he likes me to say this last part, 34 years of exemplary law enforcement experience. Randy loves that. And also Scott Steyert, former Green Beret and Delta Force member. And he adds so much to the show. So thanks so much for being on the show, guys. We appreciate it. And also, I want to mention our sponsors. Guys, please support our sponsors. They go to the great links that bring this good quality content to you. We have our title sponsor, Gulls at Gulls.com. We also have Compliant Technologies, our satellite sponsor, Gunlearn.com, MyMedicare.live, Safeguard Recruiting, our streaming sponsor. Thanks to them, we're streaming this live show to over 1 million followers, and TwoBells.com. They built a new online store at LeoRoundtable.com. If you want cool gear like the shirt I'm wearing, and I would say that the sweatshirt that Scott's wearing, because I sent him one, but of course he's not wearing that one. But anyhow, if you want some cool gear, I had to say that, Scott. Well, if you want some cool gear, go to LeoRoundtable.com, check out our online store, and I pay the same price as you guys pay. We don't make a dime off of anything. We're just trying to get our gear out there. A shout out to Brian Burns for the Tampa Free Press at TampaFB.com. Thanks for carrying our content, Brian. Also, Ray Dietrich, former lawman.com, and finally Travis Shates with lawofficer.com. Thanks to all those entities for helping make the show happen. Man, that energy drink has already kicked in. All right, so what in the world are we going to be talking about today, guys? We've got some great topics, and there was some breaking news. I haven't even had time to grab the text on it yet, but we've got DHS body-worn cameras. They're rolling out to Minneapolis after the fatal shootings, and we've got a double article on there. And then we got anti-ICE agitators. They actually set up blockades in Minneapolis, checking driver's license plates and stuff. It's crazy. Randy, you left too soon. You should still be there or go back. But now it's probably pointless by now, because now they've got what, 700 agents leaving, federal agents, and that's just breaking news this morning. So they are bailing out. But the big question is why. We're going to be talking about that because there are some mixed messages in the news. Some people that are watching left organizations may be thinking that we succumb to the pressure and that Trump is like bowing down, and that's not what we're hearing from one of our favorite borders, are Tom Homan. And so that's what we're starting off with, and that's already a mouthful. Our next one, we've got Mayor Brandon Johnson, that's Chicago, signs ICE on notice an executive order. He's directing the Chicago Police Department. So he's directing the cops to document misconduct in order to pursue prosecution of federal agents. And they're looking at charging with felonies, all kinds of stuff. So that's very troubling. I think Randy's going to be going to Chicago next. Then we got NYPD officer charged in a cooler throw death. That they say he said he was trying to protect his colleagues. We covered this back when it happened. A guy in a moped crashed and dies. We're going to cover that one. We've also got Bakerfield's police. They body cam shows an officer shooting Fabian Lopez, leaving him in critical condition. Jacksonville police officers fatally shoot a domestic disturbance suspect when he pulls out a gun. We've got security guards end up being arrested. This is NYPD. This is how they roll. Security guards won't let them into a hospital in order to back up a cop that's called for assistance on police radio, and they throw the security guard and his boss for not letting them in, they throw them in jail. It's a beautiful thing. And then Greenville Sheriff's Office determines deadly deputy shooting of a knife-wielding suspect was justified. And then we got finally Christopher Taylor. This guy is reinstated as a peace officer, given his license back. We're going to cover that. I suspect Randy will be all over that. And then if we have time to get to it, there's a man that is armed inside a Jack in the Box. He ends up being injured in a shooting after he points a gun at deputies, and that's in Colorado at Avocado Heights. So wow, we got a lot of good stuff. So Randy, don't slow down on the cigar. Make it last, because we got plenty of material for the whole hour. So guys, let's start off with our first main topic. We actually have three main topics. Two are Minneapolis, and one is in Chicago. So lawofficer.com is where the first two come from. DHS body-worn cameras, they're rolling out to Minneapolis after the fatal shootings, but our guys are laymen, so I don't know really what it matters, but it says that DHS body-worn cameras are being issued immediately, but they're going to federal officers working in Minneapolis. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, she announced this on Monday after scrutiny, after we have 2 U.S. citizens fatally shot by federal agents in Minnesota, and by all accounts, I have no reason to believe that those were not completely justified shoots. The move comes as a federal judge dissolved a temporary restraining order, and this is interesting. It had barred the U.S. Department of Homeland Security from destroying or altering evidence tied to one of the shootings, like that was ever a thing or a concern. And it says the judge pretty much lifted the order because he was convinced that there was no concern for them even doing that. So why that even? I mean, why even approaching the federal government about destroying evidence? It sounds like a judge was tempted to listen to the left and the wokeness, and then he finally just wisened up and said, you know what, it's a baseless argument, and I'm just going to let it roll. And so we've got the judge, Judge Eric Tostrad, and he dissolved the order that it temporarily blocked DHS, and he said that he wasn't even worried about them doing anything. And then the other half of this is anti-ICE agitators. They started doing roadblocks in Minneapolis, checking driver's license plates, and it says that anti-ICE activists, they turned public roadways to impromptu checkpoints and blockades, while Minneapolis police at one point looked on and walked the other way. So this is not an ICE issue. This is local law enforcement. And this is just embarrassing that Minneapolis police are letting these guys take over, do roadblocks, hunting for ICE. It's just disgusting. It just disgusts me. When Minneapolis police officers approached and urged the group to move the obstruction for fire trucks, ambulances, for emergency vehicles, the protesters, they didn't budge. And instead, they insisted that they could shift in if an emergency came along, which of course is not true. And plus they didn't follow the orders anyhow. And the officers eventually left without enforcing, what they had asked the group to do anyhow. So that's what we're starting off with. It's a mouthful. Lieutenant Randy Sutton.
The failure of leadership in law enforcement in Minneapolis is of epic proportions. I rarely have seen anything as bad as this, but we are seeing it. And they have, once again, here, I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that they don't have enough cops to do the job there. When I was there a couple of weeks ago, I learned they only have about 260 police officers, actual patrol officers, to police that entire city of 1 million people for 3 shifts. It's an impossible thing to do. But when you have insurgency like what we are seeing there now, I mean, this is something we would see in Afghanistan, something we would see in Iraq when the insurgency was in control. Roadblocks in an American city by these scumbags, it is unbelievable. And I got to tell you, man, I'm glad I'm not there, because if I had driven up there and they tried to stop me, it would have been so bad. It would have been so bad.
You would have had a new hood ornament.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, It's funny. You said it's like Iraq and Afghanistan. Well, that's exactly what I thought of. I mean, when I was in Afghanistan and up in the northern part, I was driving around, going from one place to the other place, meeting with people. The biggest, or even if we were in like full blown going to do a target, like the one thing you worried about was the checkpoints, and they're just impromptu. It could be a checkpoint going into into a neighborhood. Like they want to make sure that the people going in there is the people they want in there, but they're illegal. They're just run by whoever. That is when if you want to know how Somalia looks, just go there and see how many checkpoints. It's in all these countries, and it's like whoever's in power is like, you know what, we're just going to set up a checkpoint. We're going to control this area. It is a very, very serious thing, and I cannot believe it. Just blows my mind that this is allowed. I mean, we are literally, because there is no backbone, there's no cops doing a job. It's literally turning into a third world country. I mean, do checkpoints. There you go. I mean, what else do you need? I can't believe it was allowed. It blows my mind.
It's all by design, you know. And what is I supposed to do this? I mean, it's just incredible that the police department and that is it O'Hara? Is that the chief's name?
Yes.
He'll be forgotten and not remembered in history, except for being the coward that he is. But you know, just embarrassing that you've got supposedly a police leader that is just taking it in the rear end from the freaking, you know,
this is why the morale at the MPD is so in the toilet, because these guys want to get out there and do the job. I can tell you that right now. I had numerous conversations. The frustration level is you know, beyond belief. But remember, we've seen this before. This is a playbook from the George Floyd insanity of the CHOP. Remember CHOP in Seattle? And they let that go on for months. They gave up the control of the entire central part of the city to these morons. So, it's startling. It's startling.
Well, not to be outdone, let's pop over to Chicago, chicago.gov. So this is the government website. Mayor Brandon Johnson signs ICE on notice executive order directing a CPD, Chicago Police Department, to start documenting misconduct, or what they perceive as misconduct, and pursue prosecution of federal agents. Of course, they can't actually pursue it, but they're trying to build case and hoping that the authorities will. But guess who the prosecutors are, right? So it goes on to say that Mayor Brandon Johnson, he signed the ICE on notice executive order directing members of the Chicago Police Department to investigate and document alleged illegal activity by federal immigration agents and refer evidence of felonies, to the who? The Cook County State's Attorney's Office for prosecution. Cook County, like they've got. I mean, saying Cook County among district attorneys and state attorneys' offices, it's like saying Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, you know, among the most revered police departments. You know, it's just the embarrassment, right? It's like the armpit of prosecutors. So we got more coming up about this. We're not done with Chicago yet. We're gonna light one on them. We're coming up on our first commercial break, guys. It's gonna get really good. We'll be right back. All right, guys, it's time to talk about Galls at Galls.com. Hey, and you know, as police officers, one thing that we love to do and that we do really, really well is that we love to buy gear. And I want to remind everybody about what's really important here, because you have a lot of options, but we want you to realize the importance of supporting the companies that actually support law enforcement. And I don't know if a company does that better than Galls at Galls.com. Even like the banner behind me says, their motto is proud to serve those who serve, which of course they do in spectacular fashion. And not only that, they walk the talk by supporting dozens of focused organizations like this radio show. So when you're looking for gear, please support our title sponsor by going to Galls at Galls.com, and they're going to do you one better. For the loyal listeners of the show, they've given me a radio code to give to you in order to get 15% off your next purchase at Galls.com. It's radio 15. So type in radio 15 in order to get 15% off most purchases at Galls.com. And they have gift cards. Hook up your family, friends, and loved ones with a new Galls gift card, and they will be your new best friends. They have everything but guns and ammo. Galls.com. And we got 2 minutes, guys, before we come back to the radio portion of the show. But I think we're off to a good start here. So, and we've redone the commercial breaks and who we're giving the commercial breaks to and all that stuff. So I had to redo the clock. That is always a lot of work, Scott. It is like archaic, the interface.
Oh, I can imagine. You got to think about, you know, what you're going to talk about, what you're going to say, and then you got to manage all that in the background. But
I have a cheat sheet. So like what happened, and when we went to SHOT Show, everything was perfect except for the clock. So in my mind, I thought, hey, we're going to be over on Pacific time, 3 hours difference from where I'm at in Tampa on Eastern time. So I changed my radio clock, and I thought I just put it on Pacific time. I go in, I do all the coding and stuff for that, and and then I get there and I have forgotten that I didn't change the time. So it's going up on Pacific time. It's still programmed to go off, at 12 noon, which is 3 hours later than what I needed to. I needed to do 3 hours earlier. So I should have left it on Eastern time and I would have been fine. So I had a cheat sheet. So I still had a clock, but I had to manually, watch for the seconds to count off all that. It was a little bit of a pain in my rear end, but we survived.
So are you gonna be doing more shows now that you have your equipment, or is that just still too much?
You know what? If it's worth it, I would say yes. The appeal for SHOT Show, and we got 30 seconds. The appeal for SHOT Show is sponsors. So what we do, we're not just a podcast. I know you know that, but the radio portion of the show is expensive. We have to have a producer. We've had a radio syndicator for years, and it takes a lot of money, which means sponsors have to come in. So that's why it's appealing to me. But if I go to like other places, I typically, if I can't get sponsors, it's really not going to be worth it to go, and it's just going to be an expense. And I'm trying to cut that back. But 2 seconds. Here we go. All right, guys, welcome back. Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com, the law enforcement talk show. My name is Chip the Block, and I'm your host. We're joined by Lieutenant Randy Sutton and also military special ops guy, Scott Stiert. And we've been talking about Chicago, more specifically, Mayor Brandon Johnson signing what an executive order is called ICE on Notice. It directs the Chicago police to start documenting misconduct and to pursue prosecution of federal agents for felonies. And shocking. So we just stopped talking about Minneapolis police standing down and allowing not even the normal. I mean, I'm sure most of these people are being bussed in and coming from other places, but regardless of whether it's homegrown or from the outside, they're letting people take it over the streets, stop and detain drivers. I mean, all kinds of horrible stuff, and they're just standing down. And Mayor Brandon Johnson says nobody's above the law. There's no such thing as absolute immunity in America. Well, there absolutely is. If you're a judge or a prosecutor, and Brandon Johnson, you should be smart enough to know that, and you should be smart enough to know that cops have qualified immunity after they qualify for it. But this guy's freaking an idiot. The lawlessness of Trump's militarized immigration agents puts the lives and well-being of every Chicagoan in immediate danger. This is what the mayor's saying. With today's order, we are putting ICE on notice in our city. Chicago will not sit idly by while Trump floods federal agents into our communities and terrorizes our residents. Not to mention the fact that they're the illegal people they've allowed to reside among their law-abiding citizens. Executive Order 2006-01 creates a framework for public accountability in the event federal agents violate local or state law while operating in Chicago. Mayor Johnson's order makes Chicago the first city in the nation to leverage local authority to pursue legal accountability for misconduct by federal immigration agents. It'll never happen. And then we've got other people. Well, we got they start naming the people of shootings, saying, Miramar Martinez and Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, Renee Good, and then Alex Preddy most recently. And they're saying that that there was an absence of legal repercussions because they were legal shootings. And then we've got District Attorney Larry Craster from Philadelphia saying, I applaud Mayor Brandon Johnson's bold and principled leadership in building the infrastructure to hold ICE and Border Patrol agents accountable for criminal misconduct. Are these guys just flaming idiots, or I mean, did they drop the qualifications to become a district attorney and a mayor? I mean, what's going on, Randy?
Well, I'm going to give you a new term that I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, and I in a dream it came to me.
I've got one too. Let me hear yours.
That there is a new phrase that I am now going to utilize, and I'm going to debut it here. Law enforcement derangement syndrome.
Oh.
So you guys have been the first to hear it. You will be hearing it on some of the major networks here soon, because I've got several major news networks that I'm doing interviews with today, and I am going to use this term because I can't think of a more appropriate title for what is going on with these morons that are in positions of authority. Can you imagine who's the first patrol officer in Chicago that is going to do a crime report against a CBP officer or a NICE officer.
Well, if they reinstall Lori Lightfoot, you know, they may have a winner there.
This is unbelievable. It's every day there's something newer and more stupid coming from the leadership of the cities in this country. Some of the cities, blue cities, of course. It's mind-boggling.
Imagine if they would have taken all that assets, time and money and effort to actually go after the criminals. Then,
oh my God,
it's like, and it's so they're just this is by design, right? They want to create this narrative, right? Even though it's ridiculous. Anybody with a brain, anybody who understands that. But the fact that they did this, the fact that now it's a talking point, the fact that it's all over the news, this is going to, again, it goes into dismantling and discrediting our local law enforcement and federal law enforcement. That's all it is. It's by design. And it's like, just when you think like, hey, these people might get a clue, they double down. And I don't know where it ends, but if you want to talk about why people are so aggressive against ICE agents, this is it right here. This is just par for the course, And imagine this. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Chip.
Well, no, I was just going to say that you were talking about, what they're doing, but they're in Minneapolis, and I'm sure in Chicago, they're in the police station, not being allowed to go out and help out ICE and do what they're supposed to be doing. And they're saying, we're short staffed. But if there's a shooting that goes on and ICE is involved, or the feds, border patrol, or whoever, they're going to send out the cops. All of a sudden, now they have the manpower to be able to go and collect evidence and try to charge them. That's exactly what's going to go on in Chicago. So now they tell these guys to do the exact same thing, collect the evidence, build up a case. So they're not going to be getting rid of people doing roadblocks and stopping and checking license plates and all this stuff, or even crowd control measures to protect the law enforcement and protect the citizens. They're going to wait till something bad happens as a result of their indifference. And now they're going to have the manpower to try to do something against the feds. Which is not gonna happen.
It's crazy. Yeah. I was thinking too. Imagine this, right? Everybody talks about, like for example, if you're a law enforcement officer anywhere, you are held to a standard. You are accountable for your actions. That's just the way it is, right? And as it should. When you have and again, I'm kind of going back here. Let's just go back to the checkpoint thing. Who's manning the checkpoint? Where's their accountability? Where's their training? Do they even have? I mean, do they have weapons? If they're not showing them, I'm pretty sure at least a few of them do. So you have these people who are not held to any standard. They're not accountable for anything. And then all the left is always complaining about hey, these people are out of control. They need more training. They're not qualified. Okay, so you're going to put a bunch of civilians in there who basically hate anybody who's not like them on a checkpoint with no accountability, and you're allowing this? This just blows my mind. Like this is a recipe for major disaster. It's coming.
So we have a question from Sergeant George asking what my thoughts are on Minneapolis cop or Minneapolis. It's not Minneapolis police officers getting body cams. It was the federal agents assigned there getting body cams, and they're pulling them out. They're going to leave some, but they're pulling them out. That's no big deal. You got to figure, we're not doing, they're not doing anything wrong. And whenever the camera footage starts being shown, when it's available, like with the good, everybody's saying bad shoot, bad shoot, bad shoot. Guess what? Fantastic shoot. And she's responsible for her own death. And what should have happened is what happened with her. So the cameras are only going to justify, what we're doing. We got 10 seconds, guys. Another commercial break. Stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, guys, time to talk about Compliant Technologies at complianttechnologies.com. And hey, they're committed to providing non-lethal solutions to help officers gain the upper hand safely and rapidly in a humane, low-optics manner, utilizing their CD3, which stands for Conductive Distraction and De-Escalation Technology. Now, their flagship product, we all know by now, is called the Glove. It's helped officers not just tens of thousands of times, over 250,000 times with no injuries. And you heard that correctly. I said no injuries. The glove has actually achieved that very rare non-lethal status in an arena that predominantly can only offer less lethal results. And when it comes to weapons retention, transitioning to a sidearm or conducted energy weapon, the Globe and CompliantTechnologies.com, they have virtually eliminated weapons confusion. So stay ahead of the game with Compliant Technologies and their revolutionary CD3 that hundreds of agencies have already turned to nationwide. And friends, take it from me, when it comes to safety, this is one of the most common sense hands-on solutions that's ever come along. So go to CompliantTechnologies.com today and tell them that Chip, Randy, and Scott sent you. Again, CompliantTechnologies.com. All right, guys, we got 4 minutes before we come back to the radio portion of the show. And you know, we're talking about the glove. And man, this is something that, dude, why don't they have it? I mean, we're doing, you know, that video that you saw that video, Scott, that I did with the music and the slow motion, the glove being applied. You see that? You know, a buddy of mine that is with Border Patrol ended up watching that video, and he contacts my wife. They were friends before him and I were, and he says, "What's the glove?" He didn't even know what it was. He wanted to know about it, dude. That is why, you know, that's why we need to show.
Hold on a second. So he contacted your wife?
Contacted my wife. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the guy is from Trinidad, you know, Tobago. Dude, he's a rock solid dude. He's a really good dude.
I'm sure he is rock solid.
Yeah. Wow.
I knew that was coming. I knew I was waiting for it.
Did I open that door?
I was thinking about it, but Randy, you said it. I love it. So much there. There's so much potential and material just to mess with shit.
So anyhow, we gotta. These guys need to know about the product and then what it can do. And then, of course, it's getting to a point, and at that point needs to get here sooner than later when you're going to court. If you don't have the glove, you're just, you know, the judge just said, dude, it's affordable, $1,700 a pair, cut the freaking check, you know, pay the you're in civil court, you know, pay the liability, pay the family, and use the remainder of the money in your budget to buy the glove for, you know, every officer there. You know, it's just crazy. So
yeah.
We got 2.5 minutes, guys. I think we're off to a good start, though. Good show today.
Did you guys hear about what happened in Vegas yesterday?
Yes.
Tragic set of circumstances.
You talking about?
Tell me, refresh my memory, because
the biolab.
The little child taken hostage by his father and got in a gunfight with the police and killed his son. The police killed him, but before he could die, he shot his own son to death.
Golly.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind, man, how anybody.
Yeah. Well, you know, I love the fact, did you guys read that Trump is bringing back, he said insane asylums, but really they're institutions for to treat mental illness instead of throwing everybody in prison or they're being in the jail. I love it's brilliant because, I mean, Randy's been in law enforcement long enough to know. You remember back in the well, at least I started in '83, dude. They were freaking everywhere where I'm at, and we used to bake wreck people and get them the help they needed. And now, of course, you know, the majority of what we deal with are mental health issues, and we institutionalize them, which doesn't fix the problem. We just like put them away somewhere, and they don't get any better. So I applaud whoever told Trump to do that, or whether he came up with the idea himself. I applaud that. I love that idea. Take taxpayer money, fund it. I don't care. It's going to save lives and get people the help they need. And you're with the Wounded Blue. I mean, I'm sure you're singing this, you know, 24/7 probably.
Oh, 100%. You know, I loved Ronald Reagan. But when he opened up the gates when he closed all the mental health facilities, that was, I mean, look at all the deaths that have occurred since then, because there was no treatment facilities for these people who cannot take care of themselves.
Thank you.
It was really an inhumane thing to do.
Yeah.
Although I understand the legal, I mean, you know, the courts kept on saying, hey, mental illness is not you know, a criminal, you know, act, and I understand that, but this is a societal issue.
Yeah, I agree. Guys,
and
back to radio. Hold that thought, Scott. 6 seconds. Here we go. All right, guys, welcome back. Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com, the law enforcement talk show. My name is Chip the Block, and I'm your host. We're joined by Lieutenant Randy Sutton, founder of the Wounded Blue, thewoundedblue.org, and also Scott Steyer, former Green Beret and Delta Force operator. And we have been talking about Chicago. Randy just threatened the mayor about making a personal appearance in Chicago. I can't wait. No, I made that up. But you don't want Randy Sutton showing up, in Chicago. So don't create that scenario where that has to happen. Oh, wow. We may just have to have a live conference there and do live feeds, do live shows from there. Can you imagine that? Yeah, Scott.
I'll tell you the scariest things that I'm seeing in our nation today is the election of these socialists. I mean, it's expanding despite all of the insanity that we're seeing. The voters are putting people into office to do this. We're seeing it in Seattle. We're seeing it in Portland. We're seeing it in New York City. We're seeing it in Chicago. We're seeing it all over, and it is mind-boggling. It's irrational, and it's counterintuitive. And yet, how is it possible that that those people that have common sense are just not even bothering to vote and to change the trajectory of the leadership of their own cities, states, and it's very disappointing to see the apathy. That you guys know I wrote the book that came out about 6 months ago,
Rescuing 911,
the fight for America's safety.
Yeah,
and it is all about this topic. I mean, I wish every American would read that and then become an activist, even if that activism only encompasses getting your butt to the polls and being informed of the people who are running and putting people into office that have your values. Right now, we are seeing the degrading of America, and it's continuing. It's not stopping, and it's not slowing.
Yeah, Rescuing 911. I was just gonna say Rescuing 911. You guys have to check that out at Amazon.com. I believe, Randy, I've got a little ticker going on the bottom of the screen for you, but Amazon.com is the place to go, right?
Yes, it is.
All right,
and they can also pick up any of my other books too.
Well, that's true, and they can watch Casino, Miss Congeniality. Don't get me started, Randy. I got this memorized, dude. Photographic memory, dude. Don't make me show off. All right,
I want to do a shout out though. Last weekend,
Gavin
Safari Club International, a major conservation group, held a banquet to raise money for their organization, but they also chose to raise money for the Wounded Blue. And
really?
It was incredibly successful. Almost 500 people showed up. And I don't have the final tally yet, but they raised a significant amount of money for the Wounded Blue. So those of you who are watching this or listening to this, if your organization wants to support the Wounded Blue, who's helped now more than 17,000 American law enforcement officers who have suffered injury, either physical or emotional, contact me personally, Randy at thewoundedblue.org.
I love it, man. That's a great opportunity, guys. And I support them monthly. And you know what? If you're looking for organizations that's not going to embarrass you, thewoundedblue.org.
And I I really appreciate that $1.95 a month that you.
oh, that hurt. That hurt. Scott, fill me out, Scott.
Every bit helps. Every bit helps. Yeah.
Well, I do believe in giving monthly. I mean, one time shot in the arms are fine, but that monthly allows them to make decisions based on a budget when they have that recurring income.
Yeah, that's it.
And it is true when I use my credit card and it's, I forget about it, but I mean, it goes out and I mean, I budget accordingly, but it's less likely you're going to cancel when you have it on that credit card. So it really allows them to make some really great business decisions. And so whenever Randy calls me and he tells me, hey, we just did this, we did that. Hey, we're going to Minneapolis. We're going to help the cops out there. That is part of me that's doing that because I'm enabling them to do that by the money that I give. And so
that's right.
It's a great feeling. I tell you, when I put my head in my pillow at night, there's some things that I'm involved with, and maybe I'm not, hands-on doing it, but I am, I'm contributing, allowing the people to do that. So yeah, so if you guys want to be part of really good stuff like that that's going on, the Wounded Blue at thewoundedblue.org, can't say enough about them. And we also have that glove challenge going as well. And I know that some of you guys have been donating, and Travis Yates, panelist Travis Yates and I both got gloved during SHOT Show. And so the competition has happened. They recorded time, and they're going to announce the winner at the end of February. I suspect it'll probably be March the 1st. I think it's a Sunday. It may be March the 2nd when they make the announcement which will be a Monday. But they're going to make that announcement. And so if you guys donate to the Wounded Blue, they've got a landing page. If you go to thewoundedblue.org and go to the events section, you'll see a landing page. You click on the graphic, and it takes you to a donation page. You have the option. You put in my name, Chip the Block, or Travis Yates on whoever you think could not comply the longest, whoever would last the longest without complying while the glove was attached. And whoever wins, whether it's me or Travis, we get a pair of the gloves that we can donate to an agency because they can only be owned by a law enforcement agency. And if you're the top contributor to the Wounded Blue, in the name of the guy that ends up winning, you also get a free pair of gloves. They're valued at over $1,700, and you can donate them to an agency as well. If you're still an active duty law enforcement officer and you work for an agency, donate them to your agency. Good likelihood you're going to be the dude carrying them and training how to carry them, and then it gets them the foot in the door at the agency as well. It's a win-win. So the Wounded Blue, thewoundedblue.org, they got a lot of stuff going on in the landing pages there, just so you guys are comfortable. You know that it's a legit fundraiser, and it's just a win-win for everybody. So
and you get to watch Chip almost urinate on himself with the while getting gloved.
The first thing I did when I got done, I had to look down and make sure there was no stain. It's amazing how what diapers really work, So, all right, we got 4 minutes, so let's hop off of Chicago and let's go to our first update. ABCNewsGo.com. NYPD officer charged in a cooler throw death that he says he's trying to protect his colleagues. I'm going to go through this fast because we got some other really good stuff too. This guy's a sergeant. There's a video. We covered this a couple of years ago. He threw a plastic cooler at a guy that's running from officers on a motorized scooter, and he caused a crash that ended up killing the driver. He said he was trying to protect the other officers from being injured because the guy was headed towards them, and they charged him with manslaughter. He's currently in trial. His name is Officer Eric Duran, and he said he was not trying to injure Eric Dupree, 30 years old, who ended up dying when he threw the cooler, which is full of ice, water, and sodas, back in August of 2023. Authorities said that Dupree, a father of 3, had just sold drugs to an undercover officer when he tried to drive off. Well, he did drive off. And they're a father of 3. They're trying to make him sound like some saint. It's a freaking, a drug. Well, he said he just sold drugs. He's a drug pusher. He's a drug thug. Dupree was not wearing a helmet, lost control of the scooter, crashed into a tree, fell to the pavement, fatal head injuries, died almost instantaneously. And Duran told the court that he was going to crash into us. I didn't have time. All I had time was try to grab something and try to get him to change directions or whatever. Prosecutor said, well, if you didn't have time to warn your officers, how did you have time to pick up the cooler stuff? It was kind of going back and forth and stuff. Joseph Bianco was the one of the prosecutors in the case that was interviewing the officer and stuff. So they haven't had a verdict yet on this. Duran faces up to 25 years in prison if he's convicted on the manslaughter count, and closing arguments are scheduled for Tuesday. Scott, why don't you take this one first?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, if the guy wasn't committing a crime, he wouldn't have been in that position. And that's the thing. It's like everybody who ends up in these situations where there's excessive use or whatever, it's always because they're doing something that would require the law enforcement guys
comply. Yeah,
it's simple. Yeah. It's simple. There's literally millions of Americans out there that don't have interactions with law enforcement simply because they're not criminals. It's very simple. It's not. And then they always go to they had a family. Okay, well, what about the officers who die every day? They have families. What about, Lake and Raleigh? She had a family. You could go on and on. It's so obvious, but yet, to Randy's point, it's like these people, they continue to vote the wrong way. It's like, at some point, it's like, what do you do?
So we have seen in New York once again a methodology being employed by the district attorney's office where they seem to be very anxious to prosecute police officers and really hesitant to prosecute offenders. The no bail, low bail that we've seen. The criminal justice system is broken, and the reality is this: that this officer, this is where civil lawsuits are supposed to be the avenue that is utilized when there are, quote, wrongful deaths, unquote. That is the forum which should be utilized to charge this guy criminally. It to me is really excessive, and his life is destroyed, his career is destroyed, because he knocked a guy off a motorbike who was escaping. Come on, are you kidding me?
Yeah, this is a civil situation at best, not criminal, and they're really going to run the risk of guys not wanting to be cops in New York because of it. We're coming up on our third commercial break. Guys, stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, guys, it's time to talk about GunLearn at gunlearn.com. And as law enforcement officers, we deal with guns and we deal with ammunition every day, but it's what we don't know about them that gets us into trouble. Injuries, civil lawsuits, accidental discharges, misidentifications, lost prosecutions, and disciplinary issues. But gunlearn.com, they have your back. You can quickly become extremely firearm knowledgeable by simply learning 14 training modules from the convenience of your home or your office, or by attending a live seminar at gunlearn.com. You can also become a safe, accurate, and competent certified firearm specialist like our very own Captain Brett Bartlett and also attorney Ken Afianco. Now, the course has had huge success in raising the bar of firearm knowledge, and GunLearn has been a trusted source since way back in 2011 by gun manufacturers, federal agencies, forensic organizations, and police departments nationwide. Now, here's the best part. If you have your own agency, if you're a chief or sheriff, you can actually host a seminar for absolutely no cost. It's an amazing opportunity. Founder Dan O'Kelly put it together. Go to gunlearn.com to get more information. Again, that is gunlearn.com. And we got 2 minutes before we come back to the radio portion of the show, guys. Wow, man, we got a lot going on today. Very fluid. And hey, we got backup here. Our guys over on Rumble, man, they're MVS. It's time to pull all federal funding from states and cities that support riots, run them over, send in the National Guard, and Randy, don't give up your day job. and then Chile saying it's so much better in the 80s and 90s when people had the help they needed early on, and he's talking about the mental health stuff. And I totally agree. And he also talking about
I don't have a day job, okay?
You don't have a day job. Oh, so they are listening to us, and you know it's there's really a lot of smart people. Look, there are some people that aren't there. So look, the word that I came up with, you know, you were talking about the law enforcement derangement syndrome, and my word is libido that ends with a T. So if you spell it out, libido with a T at the end, it spells lib idiot. All right. So it does. So and so that was my little French twist on the word, adding the T on the end. And because there's just people, you know, you can talk to your blue in the face and they just don't get it. But by and large, the majority of Americans are sharp enough and they get it. And that's really, or there's some people we simply cannot convert. They don't have the capacity. I don't mean that they're not, I'm not saying they're not intelligent, but for whatever reason, they don't have the capacity to get some of the stuff. And
well, they shut out. They shut out. Like they're not going to listen. They've already made their decision, and that's it. Nothing you can say. Well, you know, it's like it's a human nature kind of trait. We're all guilty of it to some extent. I know.
5 seconds. Here we go. All right, guys. Welcome back. Leo Roundtable at leoroundtable.com, the law enforcement talk show. My name is Chip the Block, and I'm your host. We're joined by Lieutenant Randy Sutton with the Wounded Blue and Scott Steyert, former Green Beret Delta Force operator. And guys, do you mind if I kind of go out of order and I grab the other New York story with the security guards? Because Randy was saying that they don't like to, about who they like to put in jail. Well, they are targeting security guards. Dude, I love this because we've done this. We've tried to go in the place, even like strip clubs and stuff, and they wouldn't let us in. And man, we've latched on the people, threw them in jail. So rvmnews.com, which is Red Voice Media, security guards arrested after blocking NYPD access to psychiatric ward at Brooklyn Hospital. So we have 2 hospital security guards end up being arrested early on Monday after allegedly preventing New York City police officers from entering a psychiatric ward. I guess they still got one in the country. It's in New York, of all places. They probably need it there the most. It's at a Brooklyn hospital where an officer had called for assistance, according to law enforcement sources and reported by the New York Post. Now, it starts about 4:50 in the morning. It's on Monday at Kings County Hospital Center, which happens to be in Brooklyn. Now, sources said that NYPD, there was an officer that was in the hospital, in the psych ward, assigned to supervise a prisoner who's getting psychiatric treatment inside the psych ward. Now, during the assignment, the officer goes out on radio. He's asking for help from fellow NYPD people. So, man, the officers, they respond, and they get denied access to the ward. They won't let them in. Now, according to sources, Kadeem Alfred, now Kadeem should give you a little insight on to who this guy is, right? His nationality. He's 32 years old. He's a security guard working for a private company assigned to the ward. He refuses to open the doors and let the cops in to back up, their fellow compadre. And he allegedly told the responding officers while they're on the other side of the door that, hey, that they could not enter until he got approval from a supervisor who was a guy named Michael Key, who's 53 years old. They both got arrested. So the delay continued until the officers were eventually allowed access into the ward. Once inside, the officer requesting help. He's not injured. Everything ended up being okay. And then they took enforcement action against the hospital security staff. Alfred was arrested on charges of obstruction of a governmental administration, a misdemeanor offense, and it says that Key, the supervisor, was arrested after allegedly attempting to interfere with Alfred's arrest. So that's the way it goes down. Both Alfred and Key were issued desk appearance tickets and expected to appear in court at a later date. So it sounds like we call it like a recog. So maybe they weren't taken down to jail, but they were. Make no mistake about it. They were arrested and just released on their promise to appear in court. The incident drew swift attention, according to the PBA, the Police Benevolent Association, which represents NYPD. The president is now Patrick Henry, and he's calling on city hospitals to implement changes to ensure officers are able to receive immediate assistance when requested. And he says, hey, when a police officer calls for help, absolutely nothing should delay that help from getting there. And he said that in a statement. Now, this is interesting. This happens after another high-profile incident involving NYPD officers at a city hospital. In that case, the NYPD said that a group of detectives was disrespected at NYU Langone Cobble Hill after hospital staff mistook them for federal ICE agents, if you can believe that. NYPD. Wow. Randy Sutton.
Law enforcement
derangement syndrome.
Okay, here we are. Another prime example. Those guys need to go to jail. Can you imagine being the officer calling for help? I mean, thank God it turned out that this turned out okay. But that could have been a fatal a fatal incident. I mean, we've all been in psychiatric wards, right? Not as guests, but I mean, but that's a dangerous place to be. And generally speaking, you don't have your weapon to defend yourself. So if this guy's calling for help, that's about as scary a situation as it gets. And I could just see them calling an ESU to go there and breach the doors. I think if time had allowed that, they probably would have done that, and then blown the doors off the hinges, right?
But this is how it always starts. You get a breakdown of leadership in law enforcement, or the mayor or whatever, politicians. They're constantly there's a breakdown. These security guards, they feel empowered. They listen to the propaganda every day. You don't have to do this. It's like, and they buy into it. And here we are, and then if they did bring the battering ram, and then it turned into this escalation of force, then all of a sudden the cops are out of control because they're trying to break into. You see how that works, and all because they had to. They were put into a position. Same thing with the ICE. If they would have just arrested in the beginning, just started doing their job, like sending criminals off, handing them off the ICE, or hell, just arrest them. Just arrest them. Just do your job. Then we would be here.
So I don't know if you saw who Mondami just appointed as the head of the corrections section of the of the New York City. Did you see who is now?
I can't wait to hear this. No,
he's a felon.
Oh,
he served time in the same institution that he is now in charge of. Yeah. Because so the fox is truly in the hen house.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of sympathy since they voted him in the office, but we'll let it play out. I remember, and I know we only got little over 3 minutes, but I remember having to call the police impound lot. We had some civilians in charge that wouldn't let us in. We called our bosses, and they said, you know what, give them one more warning and then throw them in jail. Breach it, go in and grab them, and they ended up letting us in. It's some crazy stuff going on. Hey, this story's got a video component at rumble.com. This is Butter, our favorite law enforcement video channel. Bakersfield police body cam shows officers shooting Fabian Lopez, leaving him in critical condition. So yeah, we're in California. Bakersfield Police Department said on Monday morning, December the 29th, 2025, 2:15 in the morning, 2 Bakersfield police officers, they're in a patrol unit. They're doing a vehicle code enforcement traffic stop. And the vehicle the officers were attempting to stop eventually yielded, and the guy inside the stopped vehicle, he takes off on foot. Officer catches up with the suspect. There's a struggle. During the struggle, the subject, he takes out a handgun and points it at the officer. Now, the video shows the officer discharging his gun and the suspect allegedly pointing a gun at the officer. The suspect seen on the video getting up from the ground, proceeding to allegedly point the gun at the officer. The officers heard demanding the suspect drop the gun and discharging his firearm. And video shows the suspect, tossing the gun. And the suspect identified as Fabian Lopez, taken to the hospital in critical condition. Now, kind of on my show notes, as the officers chasing the suspect on foot after he bails from the vehicle in the traffic stop, shots fired at 35-second mark, again at the 40-second mark when the suspect sat up from the ground and he ends up pointing the gun at the officer. And shots fired again at the 47-second mark when the suspect stands up with the firearm. And then again at the 53. So we got 4 different shootings. The guy just, I don't know if the cop's missing or what's going on, but dude, it's a little embarrassing, but I'm glad the good guys won on this one. But I have in my notes afterwards, an officer told another cop that he was good, but he didn't mean a good shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was hit. He was hit. He was just very committed. And it really shows you, most people think, oh my God, he got shot. So, when you get shot, you go down, right? And that's not reality. The human body can take incredible amounts of punishment. He was still an active threat numerous times. He kept on pointing that weapon. And thank God for the body cams, right? Because that really shows that his reaction, he wasn't going to surrender.
Yeah, and this is a great example of why those bystanders or the backseat drivers like, well, they didn't need to shoot 5 or 6. This is why you continue to engage the subject until he's no longer a threat. That's why. And then of course, I don't know if you hit him or not, but it's at that point you're not thinking like, am I hitting him right? You're just continue to do your job. Hopefully eliminates the threat, because who knows? Could have had body armor on. You don't know. Right. You don't know going into that. I mean, I'm sure cops have seen a lot weirder stuff. So it's just a good example of why cops are trained to do what they're supposed to do, continue to fight, continue to shoot until he's no longer a threat. That's why.
Yeah.
And here's another aspect that there are now some jurisdictions that refuse, that it is now against policy to conduct foot pursuits.
Is that by yourself or just period?
Period.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, there are now jurisdictions that unless you can articulate that this guy is a deadly threat, you're not even allowed to chase him on foot.
Wow. Yeah. I know. I remember when in Tampa we couldn't even chase car thieves in stolen cars, and they just pull over and stop and wave and flip us off, and knowing that we couldn't chase them and stuff. But yeah, that's even worse. What you're talking about, Randy. Wow. Yeah. Well, guys, it's been a great show, Lieutenant Randy Sutton, and thanks for being the bearer of bad news on that last one. What a shocker. But Randy Sutton, thewoundedblue.org, and also Scott Steyer. We used to take this opportunity to talk about the Wounded Blue, Randy Sutton's organization. We got just seconds, but do you have anything special coming up, Randy, with the Wounded Blue?
I do, but I can't announce it yet.
Oh.
But we got something big coming up, and you guys are going to love it, and I'm going to expect you to be at this event, because this is going to be a big one.
All right. So
keep your eye on thewoundedblue.org for the announcement.
All right. I love it. Don't forget about our glove challenge at thewoundedblue.org under the event section. Make sure you enter that in order to get a free pair of the gloves. Galls.com, CompliantTechnologies.com, Gunlearn.com, Medicare.live, SafeguardRecruiting.com, and twobells.com. We'll see you tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern. and we're going to keep going for another minute and a half to keep the satellite company happy. But another great show. Any words of wisdom, Scott, for the audience? We didn't have a long gun in any of the stories today. But that last story, I would have loved. Now we're talking what was it, Bakersfield, California. So they may not be outfitting their guys with guns, or if they did, they would have a capacity of 10 or less in the magazine. Hey, but
maybe, but I guarantee you. Well, I can't guarantee anything, but more than likely, if that officer would have had an AR, and you wouldn't need 10 rounds.
One and done.
It would have been one and done, maybe two. But yeah. So explain. Yeah, explain to me. Yeah, well, exactly. And here I will say this: going back to because there's a cut. There was two incidents, two videos. One had a cop with a flashlight in one hand, and then his firearm in the other, which is a technique it's worked for years. Absolutely. Then you had the other video where the cop had his light on his firearm. Way better situation. And you're not having to shoot with one hand in a stressful situation, which is never ideal. You can train it. It's still never going to be as accurate as if you had two hands on the gun. So again, but it could be some crazy policy. They're not allowed to have a light on their pistol because then they have to point it at us. I don't know. I've heard that before, but definitely putting a light on your pistol so you can have two hands on it and still manipulate the light. It's huge. I wish all officers would do that.
Yeah, sometimes it's as simple as a holster issue where they've already bought holsters for 1,000 officers, and now you want to do a light or a laser, and you can't get in that holster that you just spent thousands of dollars on Safariland holsters or whatever, And I know back in the day in the 80s when I started, and I'm sure Randy the same thing. You hold the flashlight with your left hand, gun with your right hand, but you hold it away so that if they saw you as a target and they're taking shots at you, they're just shooting at they're not shooting at you. But I know that we've progressed to where your odds are you're going to be a lot better shot and eyes on target and have both hands available when you just have that light on the guns.
Yeah, it's just an evolution, I mean, everybody. I mean, shoot, I remember back in the day, well, I didn't have to do it, but back in the day they would take either tape or hose clamps to put a mag light on.
Oh, really?
On a rifle. Oh, okay. I mean, that before it became a thing, before there was weapon mounted lights. I mean, people are going to do what they have to do to take it to the next level. But yeah, I mean, it works, without it, but it's better to have it.
I agree. Well, look, streamers, thank you guys so much for watching the show. Randy, I don't know if he's still on, but Randy was asking what your favorite cigar is, and that may get, if he can hear us, it may get.
I hear you. I'm listening.
What he wants to know what your favorite cigar is, Randy.
I would have to say the Drone. The Drone is my favorite. Anniversario. It is delicious.
All right. So there you have it, straight from the mouth of Randy Sutton. So, hey guys, thanks for watching, streamers. We appreciate it. LinkedIn people, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, all those outlets. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you guys back tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern.